So we have heard from the Secretary of Homeland Security. She says 2 Israeli embassy staff were senselessly killed tonight near the Jewish Museum in Washington, D.C.
Metropolitan Police Department, Pamela Smith. And we are joined by members of the Washington, D.C. Public Safety Team and our partners in the federal government from the Federal Bureau of Investigation, the special agent in charge, as well as the assistant director in charge. We are also joined by the Attorney General for the United States, Pam Bondi, the United States Attorney for the District of Columbia, Judge Pirro, as well as the Israeli Ambassador to the United States, Ambassador Leichter. We are here at the MPD headquarters to provide an update on a horrific shooting that happened shortly after 9 p.m. this evening near the Capitol Jewish Museum. I want to start by sending our condolences to the loved ones of the victims who were senselessly a victim of these crimes. I want to provide my prayers and condolences to the museum staff and the guests who are also gathering together in fellowship. The chief will share preliminary information from the investigation. I will say up front that there is no active threat in our community. What I do know is that the horrific incident is going to frighten a lot of people in our city and in our country. And I want to be clear that we will not tolerate this violence or hate in our city. We will not tolerate any acts of terrorism, and we're going to stand together as a community in the coming days and weeks to send the clear message that we will not tolerate anti-Semitism. I want to ask Chief Smith to talk about where we are with this investigation, followed by our FBI partners, and lastly, Ambassador Leichter.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I'm Chief Pamela A. Smith, Chief of Police for the Metropolitan Police Department, and I'll start by expressing my sincere condolences to both of the victims and families, and also the attendees tonight at the Capitol Jewish Museum. At approximately 9:08 p.m. tonight, we received multiple calls for a shooting in the area of 3rd Street and F Street Northwest. Officers located 1 adult male and 1 adult female unconscious and not breathing at the scene. DC Fire and EMS responded, and despite all life-saving efforts, both victims succumbed to their injuries. The preliminary investigation indicates that both victims were exiting an event at the Capitol Jewish Museum located in the 500 block of 3rd Street Northwest when the shooting occurred. We believe the shooting was committed by a single suspect who is now in custody. Prior to the shooting, the suspect was observed pacing back and forth outside of the museum. He approached a group of 4 people, produced a handgun, and opened fire, striking both of our decedents. After the shooting, the suspect then entered the museum and was detained by event security. Once in handcuffs, the suspect identified where he discarded the weapon, and that weapon has been recovered, and he implied that he committed the offense. The suspect chanted, "Free, free Palestine," while in custody. The suspect has been tentatively identified as 30-year-old Elias Rodriguez of Chicago, Illinois. Our MPD case detectives are leading this investigation. I will now turn it over to Washington Field Office Associate Director Steve Jensen.
Thank you, Chief. I'm Steve Jensen, the Assistant Director in charge of the Washington Field Office. I'd also like to express my sincere condolences not only to the family of the victims, but to the ambassador and the grievance for the Israeli nation. Tonight, a heinous crime was committed, and the FBI stands with the Metropolitan Police Department to help not only investigate the homicide and provide support, but also to look into ties to potential terrorism or motivation based on a bias-based crime or a hate crime. That's our reason for being here. Full support of the FBI to Metropolitan Police Department to resolve this. And I also want to express my sincere gratitude to Metropolitan Police Department for their quick action, their attempts to render aid despite the nature of the crime resulting in the death of the victims. Getting the subject in custody quickly resolved this issue and allows us to continue with the investigation. And with that, I'll turn it over to the ambassador.
Thank you. Really what I have to say this evening is thank you, Mayor, to your amazing staff, Attorney General, Ms. Bondi, Chief Attorney for Washington, Judge Janine Pirro. The couple that was gunned down tonight in the name of Free Palestine. It's a young couple about to be engaged. The young man purchased a ring this week with the intention of proposing to his girlfriend next week in Jerusalem. They were a beautiful couple who came to enjoy an evening in Washington's Cultural Center. I will say this: we are a resilient people. The people of Israel are resilient people, and the people of the United States of America are resilient people. Together we won't be afraid. Together we'll stand, and we're going to overcome moral depravity of people who think that they're going to achieve political gains through murder. On the way in, Ms. Bondi was kind enough to hand me the phone. On the other line was the President of the United States, Donald Trump, who told me that his administration is going to do everything it can possibly do to fight and end anti-Semitism and the hatred that's being directed, the demonization and delegitimization of the State of Israel. Together with President Trump, our Prime Minister, Benjamin Netanyahu, will stand together tall and firm, and we will confront this moral depravity without fear and with determination. And now we'll turn to taking care of the families of these two victims. And again, I think the American administration, and the city of Washington, and the law enforcement officers who are on this case are going to get to the bottom of it and bring justice to this city and to the people of Washington and the United States and the people of Israel who are here feeling confident and safe in the city of Washington and around the United States of America. Thank you.
You can take a few questions, Chief.
Hi, Shamari Stone from Fox 5 DC. You say that there is a suspect in custody right now, and he walked into the museum. What is he telling investigators tonight?
Well, I don't know what he's telling them at this moment. What I do know is that he is in custody, and as you know, Amari, we have to conduct an investigation, and that requires us to ask many questions. At the time of this press conference, I'm not privileged to that information as of right now.
Hi, Evan Paris for CNN. Is there any indication when he entered the Jewish Museum that he was planning to carry out additional shootings? Was he trying to harm other people? Is there any indication? Can you tell us any more about that? And also for the Attorney General and the U.S. Attorney, can you say whether, given the diplomatic component of this, does this become a federal investigation, a federal crime to be prosecuted by the federal government?
So in response to your first question, we are still conducting the investigation, and at this moment, again, it's preliminary. So you'll have to give us a little bit more time to determine what the motives were at this point.
Let me just jump in, Chief. And you heard from the chief and from the special agent in charge that MPD is investigating the homicides, and the FBI's role, of course, as always, when there is any possibility of a terrorist act or acts motivated by hate or other bias, the FBI will be conducting those investigations. All homicides are prosecuted in the District of Columbia in Washington, D.C. by the United States Attorney for the District of Columbia. Okay.
Carl Willis, 7 News. Just a question about, after everything that happened, the stance from local and possibly federal law enforcement about any protection moving forward or heightened security for this community.
Thank you for that question. And I'm going to turn to the chief, but we have a long history and a lot of practice in our city of working with Jewish organizations around safety and around protection. And we watch global events, national events, and local events. And our organizations work directly with MPD, and MPD responds with additional resources. And so I know the chief will spend tonight and tomorrow, and we'll be talking to all of our organizations, from schools to synagogues to other organizations, to make sure we are supporting in every way that we can. Yes.
You mentioned that the suspect was detained by event security after entering the museum.
Yeah.
Is it correct to say that he surrendered voluntarily to security, or was he forcefully detained?
I don't know that we can say that right now. It's part of what MPD is investigating. Yes.
Hi, Shlomi Zayans, Ami Magazine. I have a question for the police chief. I want to know if there was perhaps any indication that something like this might happen. Was there any heightened security or threats that you were aware of? And also for the Attorney General, do you have a message for Jewish Americans who are feeling concerned for their safety tonight?
What I will say to your first question is that we have not received any intelligence with respect to any type of terrorist act or hate crime in our city. As you know, we work very well with all of our partners in the intelligence community, and had we received any information, as we would do any time, we would ensure that we had heightened security around our city at most of our synagogues.
If I could just add, and then General, we have, for a number of years, we put out grants to organizations, and we allow organizations to apply for grants. And there have been a lot of faith organizations that have applied for special security grants. And so we continue to do that in the city. We've been able to deploy millions of dollars so organizations can have increased security.
Mayor, thank you. Chief, thank you. Ambassador, our hearts go out to you and your staff. I spoke to the President of the United States multiple times tonight on behalf of the President. His prayers are with all of us, all of the Jewish community, everyone in Washington, D.C., state, local, and federal agencies, and our great U.S. Attorney, Jeanine Pirro, who will be prosecuting this case. We'll be doing everything in our power to keep all citizens safe, especially tonight our Jewish community. Our prayers go out. We have the FBI. All of our federal agencies will work hand in hand with you, Chief, as we have done, and you, Mayor, to do everything we can to keep our citizens safe. We will follow the facts. We will follow the law. And this defendant, if charged, will be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law.
Last two. 1, 2. Yes.
Hi, I'm Michael Koziel, the Sydney Morning Herald. Just on the man in custody, could you confirm the spelling of his name? You said that he was from Chicago. Do we know if he travelled to DC with the intention of, committing this act? And just finally, did he say anything else while in police custody other than free Palestine?
So the correct spelling of his first name is E as in Echo, L as in Lima, I as in India, A as in Apple, S as in Sierra. Last name Rodriguez, Romeo, Oscar, Delta, Romeo, India, Golf, Uniform, Echo, Zulu. And as I've stated before, the case is still under investigation, and that will be determined with regards to if he said any other statements while in custody. We're uncertain at this time.
How old is Mr. Rodriguez?
30 years old.
Okay.
Or 31.
Beatrice Peterson, ABC News. I was wondering, is this individual known to police? Have you had any prior interactions with him?
We have not had any prior interactions with him based on an NCIC check. We don't see anything in his background that would have placed him on our radar at this time. But again, our Joint Terrorism Task Force is working very closely with the FBI to ensure that we can do a deep dive into his background.
Shamari Stone, Fox 5, real quick question. You said that he was pacing back and forth in front of the building prior to this incident. Did security engage with the suspect prior to the shooting? Did he look suspicious? Did they see him outside?
I am not sure about that at this time. That's a part of the investigation.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Is there any indication that the firearm that was used in the crime was purchased illegally, legally obtained? Was there a serial number, or was it filed off? Do we know any details right now?
Our ATF partners will do a deep dive with respect to the firearms, as they typically would with any firearms here in the District of Columbia.
So thank you, and expect, as we have more to report, to get additional facts from the Metropolitan Police Department. Thank you.